Welcome to the Power of One. There are so many resources for victims around the Commonwealth. Today, I will be speaking with Annie, who works for the Office of Victim Advocate, and their office is located in Harrisburg. Please pay close attention to the show. So if you need services for any reason and you were a victim of a crime, I encourage you to reach out to the Office of Victim Advocate in Harrisburg. Welcome to the show, Annie. Annie, please tell me about the Office of Victim Advocate, and are there offices throughout the Commonwealth?
Yes, so the Office of the Victim Advocate is the state agency with both the duty and the authority to advocate for the individual and collective rights of crime victims. We help survivors navigate their way through the criminal justice system and find their way to hope and healing. I would say we are most known for supporting crime victims with those post-sentencing rights when offenders receive a 2-year or more state sentence, but we also provide restorative justice opportunities across the state and are working on initiatives around crime prevention. Some of our victim assistance coordinators, like myself, work in regions throughout Pennsylvania, but I would say the majority of our team is in Harrisburg. I serve as the Victim Assistance Coordinator for Philadelphia and work with community-based organizations and with the District Attorney's Office here in Philadelphia.
Okay. Now let's talk about restorative justice. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I did the program for the Victim Offender Dialogue, which, first of all, training is not like something that I love, but that week of training was dynamic and it was awesome. And I thought that was a great restorative justice program. I mean, I was engaged from the time I walked into the room to the time I left. And unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity where I can actually be a part of that process as of yet, but I'm still looking to do so. Tell me about restorative justice. That must be extremely hard because there's some families that are totally against it, and then there are families that welcome it. So tell me about the restorative justice programs within the Office of Victim Advocate.
Yes, so I think you kind of began it perfectly because this is my favorite question to get asked. Many of our restorative justice programs are actually open to crime survivors that have never interacted with the criminal justice system at all. So for instance, we have our Resilient Voices program that prepares survivors to share their stories and matches them with speaking opportunities across the state. So they're invited to events like at universities, at prisons, and community-based events. We are also using this restorative justice approach in our work with juveniles. We actually have an advocate in our office who is focused on curriculum and training for service providers who want to work with juveniles in the community. So I would say if your organization is interested in hosting a restorative group conferencing training for facilitators, contact our office. We would love to come out and train facilitators to work with juveniles in your area. And most of in fact, all of our restorative justice programs are on our website. So I encourage people to go look and see what opportunities we have.
Okay. All right. Now, when a victim's right is violated, how does the Office of Victim Advocate step in? And does there have to be a state sentence for the victim to be able to contact the Office of Victim Advocate?
So there does not have to be a state sentence, and we encourage victims to contact our office. If a victim believes that any of their rights have been violated, contact us right away. The process is they fill out a form, and then we advocate on their behalf. Each case is considered individually, and the crime victim will be kept informed throughout the entire process.
Okay. All right. Now, how can someone register or contact your office?
Yes, so they can reach out to us themselves. You can call us or email us. All of our contact information is on our website, which is www.ova.pa.gov. Victims, like I said, they can reach out on their own, but we also receive a ton of referrals from partner agencies like the Anti-Violence Partnership of Philadelphia, Senior Law Center, Women Against Abuse, and other organizations, as long as they have the victim's consent.
Okay. Now, sometimes for me, as far as, with Northwest Victim Services, I run into a little dilemma if the victim or co-homicide survivors are looking for relocation, and I want to be able to tap into the district attorney's office, but no one was apprehended. So with the Office of Victim Advocate, if no one is apprehended, or if someone did not receive a state sentence, can they still utilize services?
Absolutely. So victims or survivors should call our office at any time. Most of our services are available to crime victims regardless of the imposed sentence or lack of sentence. Our restorative justice programs, our safety programs like the address confidentiality and notification services can all be tailored to fit the needs of crime victims.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because anybody knows that if they contact me, I'm gonna move a mountain. So now I will be calling your office like all the time. So just
absolutely
my number, just answer.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
Does the Office of Victim Advocate deal with a lot of human trafficking victims?
We do. So the program I mentioned just before, Address Confidentiality Program, is one that many human trafficking survivors work with. So this Address Confidentiality Program is a service that is open to any victim of domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, or stalking. So the victims do not need to engage with the criminal justice system at all. They simply sign up and they're enrolled in a free service that provides them a PO box to keep their physical address out of public record.
Awesome.
It's amazing. And we have the most dedicated advocate that runs this program. I cannot say enough amazing things about him. So I would encourage people to reach out as far as that goes. And I also provide a ton of referrals to all of our amazing local agencies that provide free counseling, housing, legal services. So often I'll reach out to WAR or the Support Center for Child Advocates if I have a survivor of human trafficking. And the majority of those local service providers that we work with are available on our website, kind of broken down by region.
Okay. Now, going back again to some of the victims that I serve, senior victims who have had monetary loss. And they asked me about restitution. So, and I don't really understand a lot about it, but do they actually get their money back if someone's serving a state sentence? Because the person who is serving time, they really don't get a lot of money, correct? Or if they have money like on their books, and if their family member gives them money, talk a little bit about the restitution part. And do victims actually see the money that the court has ordered to be paid?
Yes. So victims are supposed to receive their restitution, but often it is incredibly difficult for a variety of reasons. Some of the ones that you mentioned, inmates usually only make about 25 cents when they're in prison. So it is difficult to make sure restitution is paid. I would encourage any victim that has issues or questions about restitution to call us. We have an advocate in our office who is amazing. She will go to bat for any victim, and she works strictly with restitution. So she will be able to support anyone with those questions. So reach out if you're having issues with restitution. If you're not receiving it, what have you, call our office.
Okay. Now, the Inmate Apology Bank. I think this is a very unique program. So with all of the institutions that are in the state, how do the inmates become aware of this apology bank, and what steps do they need to take to be a part of it?
Yes, so there is information available to all inmates at each institution about our inmate apology bank. We have a coordinator through our office that travels to the state institution and provides training to the inmate on the significance of remorse and how to actually write an apology letter. So our trainings haven't been conducted recently because of prisons' COVID protocols, but we're hoping we can get back into prisons this year. So we deliver on average like 200 letters to crime victims a year through the Inmate Apology Bank. And this is a voluntary program on both sides. So inmates aren't required to write an apology letter. And if the victims do not want to receive an apology letter, it is completely voluntary. They can say no.
Okay. Now, the Resilient Voices program, how do victims or co-homicide survivors tell their story with OVA? And once they do, how is it exposed to the public?
Yes. So our Resilient Voices program is designed for victims who want to share their personal experience in a setting that matches their individual goals for healing. So they receive training from our office. And then this is usually one of my favorite days at work because they practice with us. So we'll all get on Zoom and the survivor gets to practice speaking in front of us. We give feedback and get to really talk with them about their experience. And then they're matched with speaking opportunities. So like I said earlier, they might go to a university that's having a sexual assault conference. They might go to a prison. They might go to a community event to share their story. More information is on our website, and also the referral form to contact should you want to join this program is on our website.
I am Ashley Bricker.
My name is Thomas Williams.
My name is Erica.
I'm Charlene Scaretta.
My name is Jasenia Blanco, and I am a survivor of domestic violence.
I am a survivor of incest and sexual assault.
My mom, Leslie Kerstetter, was murdered by her fiance.
I am a survivor of attempted homicide, domestic violence, rape, and sodomy.
My son, Danny, lost his life because someone else made the final decision whether Danny was going to live or die.
You have the right to be treated with dignity and respect.
You have the right to be informed.
You have the right to be notified and present at all court events.
You have the right to financial compensation.
You have the right to know where your offender is at all times.
Victims' rights create that safety in your skin, that safety in the world, and that reinforcement that not everything is bad, not every person is bad.
Because everything around you is so messy, and just to have the rights to be protected, to be informed, it's so important just to have some sort of structure.
My victim advocate was with me in the courtroom every time. I could call her whenever I needed anything. It was important to have that person there because you're sort of in a daze, life is mechanical. Some things you just don't think to ask. And you need someone there to guide you, and they did that.
If I could change one thing about victims' rights, it would be that the victim is still notified of everything that is going on post-conviction. We had no clue that he was trying to file appeals, and that would be really important for victims to know so that we could be there for trials and hearings, so that the judge and that the offender know we still exist and we still care and we're going to be there.
Knowing now what rights victims have, what support is there for victims, what could have happened, and what can be possible, the resources that are out there for victims to help feel more like a survivor than a victim is incredible. Knowledge and support and respect from a system is more empowering than a lot of people give credit to.
To learn more about the rights of crime victims and how to access them in Pennsylvania, please visit ova.pa.gov.
I have rights.
You have rights.
We have
rights.
Parole. That's big. Your office handles parole as well. And I was very fortunate enough. I was contacted, I want to say probably about 6 years ago. And I was asked to assist with that process in Philadelphia. And it was very humbling, rewarding, and hard, very hard to be able to sit across from or sit next to some co-homicide survivors or victims, and for them to be made aware that their offender or the offender of their loved one is getting ready to be released soon. Please tell the viewers how important it is for people to attend those hearings with the parole board, some of the parole board members, for them to be able to voice how they feel and some of the requirements. Like, I do know that Philadelphia is huge. So if the person lived in Philadelphia, you can't say, no, I don't want that person back in Philadelphia. But they could say, okay, listen, don't let that person back in West Wayne or in the North Philadelphia area. So please tell the viewers how important it is for, even though it's draining, and even if you make that first meeting, they can use that recording for the next one and the next one. So tell them how important it is and some of the things they may be able to ask for.
Yes. So speaking in front of the parole board is a victim's right in Pennsylvania. And I think it's a very special experience, although, like you said, it is incredibly challenging. So the way it works in Philadelphia, because I'll speak, it's the same across the state, but in Philadelphia, they'll be working with me. I am our Philadelphia advocate. So when an offender comes up for parole, I will coach the victim or the co-homicide victim through the process, prepare them by going over, do we find pictures that we want to share? Do we want to share stories, letters? Would you rather record your input versus saying in front of the parole board? What feels best to you, and helping them through that process. I think one thing that's important to know is that the parole board doesn't have the specific details of how the crime affected the survivor. So speaking in front of the parole board is the only opportunity to give the parole board that input. And like I said, that can be done through a letter if that is too hard for you at this time. Whatever works for you, we will tailor to fit your needs. And like you said, if the inmate is denied parole and comes up again, everything you shared in the past will be there to be reviewed, and the parole board will review it again at the time of review. Now, you can share your input about how this crime affected you. You can share whether or not you support parole, oppose parole, or you're neutral to it. And then we can ask for different things like no contact, geographical restrictions. It is hard to get all of Philadelphia, but if that's what my victim wants, I'll ask for it. Even if we are denied, we'll try again. Does that mean, like you said, no West Oak Lane, no West Philly? What can we do to make sure the victim feels safe if the inmate is going to be released on parole? Each case is different. Each survivor is different. And I encourage them to reach out to their office and see how I can support them through this process.
That's awesome. Please tell the viewers how they can contact the Office of Victim Advocate, phone numbers, websites, emails. Please share all of that information.
Yes. So survivors can reach out to our office Monday through Friday. And I encourage you to reach out anytime. If you want to be registered, if you want to learn more about any of these programs I said, have questions, you're concerned that your offender's coming up for parole, anything, call us. So our number is 800-563-6399. And we do have an email portal on our website, and that's ova.pa.gov.
Thank you so much. Anna, thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Yes, so am I. Thank you so much, Melany.
Thank you so much for joining me today. This show was very enlightening. If you are a victim and you need services, and if you are a victim and you feel like your rights were violated, please reach out to the Office of Victim Advocate in Harrisburg. Peace and blessings.